Bella. I love this top because it's a crossover, it's a V-neck, and there's so many of you all that love V-necks. So this is a really simple V-neck. Now you could use any kind of fabric you want. This happens to be sweater knit. This happens to be a little bit heavier knit, like a double knit. And I did it out of 2 different colors so that you could really see exactly what I was doing. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to take our master pattern. Again, this is a little sample, but it's a master pattern. And we're only doing this to the front of the garment, not the back. So we need to pull down the neckline, and you can even cut it off. And you could scotch tape it back on to cut your back. Now usually what I do is I cut the back first and then I go alter the front of this. We're back to your neck again. So we're going to take our tape measure, put it in the hole of our neck, and decide how far down you want that V to be, because right now is when you're going to determine how low this is on you. So what I have on right now is finished at 6. Remember, you need to draw this on your pattern, your master pattern, hold it up to yourself to make sure that's exactly where you want it to be, because it's a whole lot easier to alter the pattern than it is to alter a garment once it's finished. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line right here, and then I am going to go, and I'm going to show you, if you look at what I have on, I'm going to keep the shoulder, but I am going to go out 7 inches. And when I go out the 7 inches, that's what's going to create the crossover. Now, this is my center front, and you can see this is how much I have added. So let me show you the finished pattern. I'm going to take this away and bring up the finished pattern. Now this is a full-size pattern, so you can see exactly what I did. I went 7 inches down, 6 inches down, 5 inches down, however far down that you want. You're going to use the entire shoulder. So you're going to start here and you're going to curve. Now when you curve, that's when this 7 inches is going to come, hold on, into play. This is a side seam and this is the shoulder. Okay, so the piece that you took out of here is the V, and that's exactly what you're seeing. This is the V. This has an addition, and this is again totally up to you. I like to put about 2 inches addition to it so that this is going to go under, and I have something to play with, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second when I get to fabric. So can you see, this is what the finished garment, let me pull this over. This is what the finished garment looks like. This is exactly what I have on. And that's where that addition is, because you need to have something to stitch it back together again, right? So you don't need, believe it or not, you don't need to add anything to this piece. You only need to add it to the small piece. Isn't that cute? Easy, easy, easy to do. So let me show you what you're going to do from here. That's why this one is really simple to do. I have this in pieces so that you all can see the colors, all right? You're going to sew the shoulder seams together first, and then you're going to finish this edge, which is this edge, and this edge with Chanel trim before you ever put it together. So can you see that I have my Chanel trim started? This is the wider piece. Let me pull this up so that you can see it. This is the wider piece of my shirt. This is where I've added the addition. So once you have finished your Chanel trim, and let me just pull this over and pin this so you can see this a little bit better. And you can see on me while I'm doing this, look at me, and you can see that this is exactly what I have. And you're doing Chanel trim exactly the way you're supposed to do Chanel trim. There's nothing magical about this. This is, remember, Chanel trim is a way to cover a cut edge, and that's exactly what I have. So I would be stitching in the ditch and cutting off the excess, all right? Let me turn this to the inside, and I'll just turn it to the inside. So you have finished the whole V neckline of this before you ever put it together. So remember, I added that length to the small piece, and all I have to do is to line this up like this, and I can either stitch in the ditch to hold that to the piece, or I could stitch at the top of the trim. I did not. I stitched in the ditch to hold the piece together, and you're finished. All you have to do is put your sleeves in, sew your side seam, and guess what? You have the Bella.